Hi, welcome to the bi-weekly show. I'm Kyle Schickner, and this week, a couple days ago, saw an article written by Mike Zemansky for the Examiner. I think the LA Examiner. I'm not sure which. Hi, welcome to the bi-weekly show. I am Kyle Schickner, and this week I want to talk about an article that I saw written by Mike Zemansky. Mike Zemansky has been in the bisexual world, activist world, longer than I. Late 80s, early 90s, does activism, put on a lot of conferences out in LA in the 90s. Anyway, he did an article in the Examiner that I saw about Marvel Comics X-Men series, or one of their spin-offs. X-Juniors, X-Kids, Excalibur, I don't know what it is, one of the many X-Men series. That they are going to have now a bisexual character named Prodigy, which is amazing. It's great. I don't know anything about Prodigy. I've actually just starting. Growing up, I was a huge comic book fan. Marvel Comics, hated DC. Didn't understand DC at all, but loved Marvel, the flawed heroes. I was very much into the Hulk, that sort of large brute who's misunderstood and really kind and wants to be left alone. I totally related to that. But I love the X-Men too. The X-Men came out in the 60s, and they were a bunch of mutants, which to those non-nerds are people who are born with powers, as opposed to Spider-Man or Daredevil or Captain America, who acquire their powers. A mutant is someone who's born with the powers. The comic book early on was really an allegory or a metaphor for the upheaval that was going on in the 60s with racism and gender politics, and it very much was sort of about looking at discrimination and saying, look, these people are, the mutants were discriminated against. Later in the 90s, when the movies started coming out, the director Bryan Singer, a gay director, he made it much more. It seemed to be much more an allegory about homophobia, which was great, which I totally love, and sort of that, you can hide, and if you could change it, would you, that kind of thing. But anyway, so the X-Men were great, and I love the X-Men, and I really related to that outsider aspect. What I really relate to, there was a part of the X-Men, there were a group called the Morlocks, which is taken from H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. The Morlocks were also mutants, but they were really sort of the dregs of the mutants. They weren't the good-looking ones like Angel or Cyclops or Jean Grey. They were really kind of the outcasts of even of mutants. And they lived in the subway systems, in the tunnel system under New York City and New Jersey. And they were called the Morlocks. And they had names like Castillo was the leader. She was this hard kind of like biker chick girl that I had a total crush on growing up. And there was Caliban, but there's also guys named Ape and Leech and Tar Baby. So you get an idea. And to me, the Morlocks were the bisexuals of the mutant world. If mutants are the LGBT community, the Morlocks were the bisexuals. They were shunned. They were kept underground. They were they were looked on with suspicion by the good mutants, the L and the G mutants, if you will. But they were also often called upon to be helped with wars and battles by the mutants. So they were shunned and kept underground, and not really helped and sort of embraced by the mainstream mutant community. They were kept underground until they needed us, or needed them. Very much like the lesbian and gay community sort of shuns the bisexuals, except that they're quick to use us in counting for numbers and statistics and claiming bisexual men and women as gay and lesbian, famous ones to be part of their, to see, look, they're gay. So I really related to the Morlocks. I really feel like the Morlocks are the bisexuals of the mutant world. So I am extremely excited about this new character, Prodigy. Now again, this goes now back to my we need to support a culture. If every bisexual person that hears this, that sees this, that is aware of that, goes out now and buys a comic, buys the first episode or issue of this comic where Prodigy comes out and says, and there's this big, frame, this big panel of art, he says, I'm bi, and he's very exclamation points, which is very big with comics. If every one of us went out there and bought that, bought it and the numbers skyrocketed, Marvel Comics would say, oh, look at this, there's a market out there. And they would perhaps treat this with the respect and hopefully the dignity that I'm hoping for this character will be. I mean, Marvel Comics generally, you know, does well with these kind of things. It's interesting because someone asked me, do you think it's a publicity stunt? And, because there have been other gay characters who've, come out and kissed, and I think Batgirl now is well, the new Batgirl's a lesbian. And whether this is a publicity stunt or not, and I don't see making a character bisexual helping them in the mainstream world. It's certainly not helping them in the gay lesbian world. So I don't know if it's a publicity stunt or not, and actually it doesn't matter to me. See, the motivation sort of is irrelevant. Hollywood has always been to me, or Hollywood or entertainment world, which includes comics, is not about black or white or gay, straight. It is about green. It is about money. And if people can make money off of movies that have black characters, then they'll have a million movies with black characters. If movies make money with gay characters, they'll start producing more movies with gay characters. And if they start doing movies and comics with bisexual characters, and we support them, there will be this huge influx of bisexual characters, and then eventually bisexual writers and directors will get in there and start being able to handle these characters with some more finesse and honesty and truth. So it's imperative, I feel, to go out and buy this comic, to buy a subscription to this comic, and follow this, and to write to Marvel and saying, hey, thank you so much. I'm all on board with this. This is great. It's good to be represented. I also give them extra props about Prodigy is an African American kid, and I'll be wondering if how they're gonna deal with that, because for a while apparently, I guess, and I don't know that character well enough at all, but apparently he was either gay or was assumed to be gay in the last year or whatever since he came out. But so now he's coming out as bi, so it's an interesting switch. So support them. Go, let them know. I am now supporting this comic because of the bi character. I like what you're doing, and we're watching. As I'll be the first one to call them out if all of a sudden it becomes some stupid, male fantasy or whatever it would be, or I guess it wouldn't be male fantasy, or else she'd be a lesbian who's now bi. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. I think that now that there is a bisexual character in comics, an out bisexual character in comics, it's time for there to be an out bi male on Survivor. This is my weekly plea to Mark Burnett to get me out on that show. The new season starts this month, so I guess I'm not going to be on this island. It's okay. I'll wait till next time. All right, that's it. Again, go buy the Marvel Comics, one of the X-Men series. It's Prodigy is his name. Don't exactly remember the name of the comic that it comes in, but you can check Mike Szymanski's Examiner column. I could have done that, but then you'd have nothing to do now for the next 12 hours.